reminder stuff. I think it's very important that you take pictures of your documents, your luggage, your IDs, and I really feel it's important to put an ID in your luggage. And somebody was telling me, I was talking with some friends the other day about this, and they were telling me that they went on a trip and they were waiting for their luggage and waiting for their luggage and it didn't come. But they noticed that there was this garbage bag that just kept going around and around on the conveyor. So finally they went over and looked in the conveyor, and sure enough, it was all their clothes. And they said they have no idea what happened to their luggage, but all their clothes were in there. So things happen.
Wow.
So, and that's another reason I do like those packing cubes. So that made me think, I think that I am going to label my packing cubes as well, put identification on every single one of my packing cubes in case something does happen and my luggage explodes and, you know, all those packing cubes are all over. So just a thought, but, you know, sometimes you could do all those things and you still lose everything. So it'll be down in that store down in Alabama where they sell all your stuff. Anyways, for the flight, I think everybody knows, and they tell you, put your phone on airplane mode, and only turn it back after landing. But that is the reason, and I got Taryn here from the library, she's going to speak about it, but if you don't download books and you don't download movies, or you don't really have anything to do because your phone's on airplane mode and it needs the internet to be, or some service to be able to do that. So we're going to talk, Taryn's going to demonstrate, she's going to help us with the Libby's, with how to get books downloaded if you don't know how to do that. The last few times I've traveled, I've noticed, you know, the 30-year-olds next to me, they're watching a movie, having a good time on their phone, and it's like, oh, wow, that's really cool. How do they get it downloaded? So that made me start thinking about this class and about downloading, you know, how to download movies as well, your TV shows. So, so there's other apps that you can use, but make sure they're not included in another app that you own. But they do have, you know, currency converters and stuff like that. But we noticed in the office we all had different phones, so we were messing with it. And some phones have a calculator on that already has a currency converter, and some do not. So that's something to look at yours. And then I'm not so sure that Colette won't have some of that included. I think they have some of those apps included in their app. So you don't want too many apps on your phone. Make sure, see what you've got first. And of course, I really stress the weather app, so you know, even when you're over there, you can look at your phone and see what the weather's going to be for the day. You know, and see where you're going to go, when it's going to be. You know, and make sure you have some place to store notes and documents. So some things you can put in the wallet in your phone. I have a wallet, and I put my airline tickets in there. I use that a lot for other things as well. Amazon for returns now, you can put it in your wallet. It's so much easier than to show it to the UPS store when you're returning stuff. And then I have next, I explain how you download the apps. It is a little tricky sometimes to know if you're going to get charged for them or not, so do watch that. But I have all explained there. And again, we're here to help you as much as we can. We don't know everything, but we try really hard to help you with things like this.
And Teresa, maybe you're going to mention it, but depending on what app store you use, it'll say whether or not it's a verified app. So make sure you're using verified apps, because people can upload things and call them whatever they want and put them in the Play Store until they get caught. So make sure it's got a verified by Google or by Apple.
Google Play usually does that.
They do. Yep, they'll list it right at the top. Yep.
Okay, I did not know that, so thank you.
Yeah, good to know.
So that's why she's here. Next, for your own travel, or when you're navigating a city on your own, you're walking around, it's good to have like Google Maps or Waze. Waze isn't so much for walking, but Waze is my favorite one for driving, for getting around when I go on a trip.
For finding out where the cops are.
Yes. That's exactly why. Because Google even tells you when there's an accident, but Waze says there's a police officer up ahead.
Google does now too.
Does it now?
It's integrating it. It's not great yet. Waze is still better at it.
What's the one that tells you where the nearest restroom?
Oh, I'm getting to that one.
Oh.
That's even more.
And then there's City Mapper that it helps with transportation, getting around on the subways and the buses and things like that. And then the next one is local ride services. When we were in Nashville, that was the first I got to use Uber, and we loved Uber in Nashville. And I have used it very much with Council on Aging. But sometimes I've had to have bus drivers picked up and brought to our hotel and things like that. So we do like Uber. I've never used Lyft or Grab or Bolt. Language and communication, Google Translate. Is that the one? Can you have them talk into the phone? You can turn on Google Translate. They can talk into the phone and it'll translate it so you can read it. So it'll tell you what they're saying. Duolingo is great for learning a language. And I don't know if you know it or not, but I did put in Irish, and it does have a translation for some of their lingo and stuff. So they don't all speak like our English. And then there's WhatsApp and that's for the texting and the calling using a Wi-Fi instead of using cellular service. Money and budgeting, I've listed the three main ones there. And then I had my next one is flight and trip organizing, Skyscanner, Kayak, and Google Flights. A lot of my friends I didn't use it the last time I scheduled my flight, but I heard a lot of my friends say how much they like Google Flights. It does show the cheapest trips. I haven't really played with it yet. TripIt, you can go to TripIt and it helps you build your itinerary and sync it to your calendar, and it lets you share the plans. They have, I do know, I haven't played with it much. I do know that they have one that's free, and then you can upgrade it to one that you paid for. So that is something you might want to check into. But as far as Colette, they're going to have all that stuff for the Ireland trip. This is more when you're doing trips on your own. And then there's Flyte. Again, some of these are things that Colette already does, but you may be interested in these if you're planning your own trip or you're going on a different type of trip. Accommodations and car rentals. Of course, there's Airbnb and Vrbo, but there's Cozy. I haven't tried that one yet, but when I found that when I was researching for this, and I was really intrigued with it. So I will be next time I do a group thing or for my personal use, I was gonna look at Cozy. But I am familiar with Turo, and I think it's the neatest thing. A friend of mine showed up with this really nice Jeep, and I'm like, wow, you got that from the car rental? And he's like, no, I got it from Turo. And here it's people, it's just like Airbnb, but with your cars. So you can make arrangements for a car to be waiting at the airport for you, and then you leave it. But the only thing is, if you ever do use it, take lots of pictures. Take lots of pictures when you get in your car, and take lots of pictures when you drop the car back off, so that they can't have some damage and try to blame it on you. So just to protect yourself. The next one, if you're a hiker, the next section is outdoor activity apps are for you. And then the packing helps, which we kind of went over last week, so I'm not going to go over that, but there are, I listed in there different things to help you. My favorite, of course, I said last week was ChatGPT. I just thought that was great for planning my trip to Ireland. The next one is the one that Amy was talking about, the convenience app Flush. So there's actually an app, and you can, by your location, it'll tell you where the nearest bathroom is at. So.
Very vital.
Yeah.
The coffee app and the potty app.
Yeah, Amy wants one for coffee. The next one is kind of kind of repeat, but it talks about Arlo and Holafly. Do you know anything about those? And then the weather apps that I suggest. The next one is for discovery and search. Around Me will help you find restaurants, and Road Tripper also helps you with the planning. Around Me, I just use Google Maps, and I can usually find what's around me. But it is another option. If you don't like Google, you can try that one. Again, Colette has a journal app built within their app if you want to journal your trip. But the Polar Steps was one that ChatGPT actually recommended, so I did put that in there for that. And then it recommended Stipple for trip planning. It was an all-in-one organizer. And then ChatGPT helped me with this. It's my new best friend. But it says, why do these matter? Well, they help you stay on top of the delays and the connections, which we all know when we're supposed to be at the airport. But some of these apps help us know, like, there's a delay or what's going on. And it helps us with, find services and sites, accessibility, where you are. And Road Tripper planners help with long distance travel logistics and can turn travel time into adventure. So adventure, I take that the wrong way though, because so many times they've told me the wrong way.
Colette has flight numbers and all that stuff will be in there.
Yes.
Okay. Good.
Yes. And I do have that stuff in the office. They have sent it to me.
Oh, okay.
But
no big hurry.
yeah,
I'm just
it's
curious.
we've just recently got it. I have been just holding off because I've been trying. We have 3 different flights going out,
Okay.
and I really wanted, this past week I had a meeting with Colette because I really tried hard to get us all on one flight. We surprised them with this. They thought I could only get 20 people on this trip, and we kept telling them we want more than that. We started out, we wanted 30, and I had to fight for every 10 seats I got on this trip. And so we started out with 20, and so that's why we did not get all on the same flight. But there shouldn't be anybody flying alone. That was my second best concern. And they did tell me that they are going to have 3 different pickups at Trinity to take you to the airport, depending on what flight you're on. So because that was really important to me, I didn't want anyone having to wait all day for their flight at the airport.
And we don't want to be by ourselves.
Yeah.
Well, I will because my arm's going to get tired, but I can't go.
But on the way back, we should all arrive at Columbus. It sounds like the same time. I haven't had a chance really to study it real hard, but from what they tell me, they were going to bring everybody back to Upper Sandusky on the same bus.
Okay.
But
How many's in our group?
43.
Wow.
Yeah. It went up. We had a new one yesterday signed up. So, and they found a spot for it, and she's getting to fly with a few of the people that are already signed up. So we're excited to have 43. So it's gonna be a fun group. So, and then it's got the final tips. Make sure you download all your apps before you leave. Set up accounts and passwords at home. You don't want to do that over the hotel internet or the airport internet. Download your offline maps if you're going to need them. Bring charging cords and portable batteries. I can't stress that enough. For the plane, for the bus, keep those charged up overnight so that you have them on the bus. Those portable chargers are a lifesaver.
Why would we need the offline maps?
That you won't need it for this trip. This is in general. Some of this is kind of general stuff. That'll already be in the Colette app, I believe.
Okay.
And I like knowing where we're at. Like if I'm riding on the bus, I like knowing where we're at. But maybe that might be part of my job. It's also part of how I was raised. Yeah.
I was just
Where we at? My dad was very much a navigator. Where are we at on the map? Teaching us how to use maps.
That was my.
So I'm always looking at my map on my phone. And then also, I can't stress enough, keep your documents saved digitally on your phone. So take a picture of your passport, have it somewhere on your phone, whether it's in your wallet, whether it's just in case you lose that passport, that might be able to get you through customs. It'll be easier on you to get through customs if you lose your passport.
And any of you guys who have an Android phone, you already have Google set up. Google is a great place to keep all of these things because you can save all of those documents. You can save all kinds of different formats of information all in Google, and then you have access to it when you might need it. Hopefully you won't need it, but if you do, you have it all in one place.
And it's not just your passports and your driver's license; it's also your medical information. Have a physical copy and a digital copy of all your medications, of who your doctor is, and they have that information at Colette, but it might take me a hot minute to get that if I need it for some reason. But they assure me they are experts at helping in a bad situation. So that's one of the reasons I feel comfortable with Colette. But anyways, right now I'm gonna hand this over to Taryn from the Upper Sandusky Library. She's gonna do a presentation on books, how to download books on the Kindle, and on movies, how to download movies through Hoopla.
Yeah, so my name's Taryn. I'm from the Upper Sandusky Library. And I am going to talk about Libby specifically and Hoopla, which are our two apps that we have free through the library if you have a library card. If you don't have a library card, you have to stop up at the library and sign up for one. And you can sign up through Upper. I think you can also sign up through Perry or Sycamore. So if you live in those areas, you can also use those. I do have a PowerPoint presentation. I don't have a big screen to show it on, unfortunately, but it will be embedded in the video at the end. So if you want to see it, you'll be able to see it there. So let's talk about the differences between Libby and Hoopla for a minute. So both of them, you can access ebooks and audiobooks. However, with Hoopla, you can also get movies and TV shows and music.
And you say Hoopla's also free?
Yes, with the library card, yes, it is. I think there's also a paid version, but why pay for it if you can get it for free, right?
Exactly.
Both apps work on all newer phones. They also work on tablets, on a Kindle, on an Amazon Fire app. The only one that they will not work on, I think, is like the Kindle Paperwhite. I think that's the only tablet that it doesn't work on. Hoopla will also work if you have a car system. New cars have these, fancy Wi-Fi systems. Hoopla will also work on a smart TV. I think you can get it through Roku. And you can, of course, access both of them directly from their website as well. You can stream Hoopla music and movies and TV shows to other devices. So if you have it on your phone and you want to stream it to your smart TV, you can do that. Libby, you cannot. You cannot stream Libby to anything else. If it's downloaded on your phone, you have to use it on your phone.
Can you use Libby while it's in airplane mode?
You can use it offline.
Okay.
As long as the books are already downloaded. Actually, I'll talk about that in a second here too.
Okay, thank you.
Now, one of the big differences between Libby and Hoopla is that with Libby, there are sometimes wait lists, especially for newer titles, popular titles. With Hoopla, there are no wait lists. You just get it if it's available. Another big difference is with Libby, you can have up to 20 holds and items borrowed at a time. With Hoopla, you can only have 4 per month. Yes, it's very limited. It didn't used to be that limited. With our library, it's limited. Every library kind of does it differently, but because of the way that our budget is set up with them, because Hoopla is an expensive app, we limit it to 4 per person, and that includes anything. It includes movies, music, magazines, books, everything. So if you're going to download something on Hoopla, I would recommend, if you want a TV show, I recommend downloading an entire season of a TV show and not individual episodes. Because each one of those episodes counts as a borrow.
Okay.
Or download an entire album if you want music instead of just a single song. Another big difference is with Libby, you can use more than one library card per account. You can have as many library cards on there. I personally have 4 library cards set up on my account.
Okay.
And each one of those cards, you can add more items. So per card, you have 20, a limit of 20. But if you have 4 cards, you can have up to 80 items on hold or borrow. I do a lot. I'm a little extra with that. With Hoopla, you could not. You can only have 1 library card per account. But you can have more than 1 account if you want. Also, returning items on Hoopla, when you return something, it does not add back to your monthly total. Once you've borrowed something that uses up one of your 4 for the month. With Libby, you get some back. So as soon as you return something, you get another borrow or available. Another big difference with Libby, you get the newest titles available. Hoopla doesn't always have those. They usually have the older books, specifically books in movies. They have some of the older stuff. They don't always have the newer stuff. So if you're looking for the newest Danielle Steele book, Libby's your best option, but you're probably going to have a long wait list for it. Oh, that was another thing I wanted to talk about with the being able to have more than 1 library card. If you can get a library card through a different library, sometimes they have a different set of items available, and you can get your hold sooner at different libraries through different cards. So that's actually why I have 4 different ones, because sometimes my main library card, it's not available, but on another library card, it's available right away. There are kids modes with both that have parental controls if you're traveling with kids.
Can I ask a question about the library card?
Yes.
I thought like I used to have one at Finley, but it was because I worked in Finley.
Uh-huh.
Is there rules like that apply? Like you have to either get it where you live or where you work?
It depends on the library. Most libraries now, I don't think really care.
Okay.
Can you sign up online then to those
There are
libraries?
some libraries will allow you to do a digital card through the Libby app. I have, for example, a card through Cleveland that is just a digital card. I'm only able to use it on Libby. Some will offer a digital version that you're allowed to use for a limited time. Marysville does this. You're allowed to use it for like 30 days, I think, and then you have to go into the library and prove who you are in person.
I think Finley dropped it, but,
I think Finley did drop Hoopla. Yeah, you're right. Some libraries have, because Hoopla's an expensive app.
Yeah, I think that's why they dropped it.
Yeah, that's why we've limited ours so much, because it got to be so expensive.
So if you have 4 cards on your Libby app and you want to read Gone with the Wind, will it tell you each library how, does it automatically go through all 4 of your cards and tell
I
you?
should have put a screenshot on this, but you can bring up the book, click on the library card itself, and then bring up each library that has it, and how long the wait is for each library, each card.
Okay.
So we can do these at home on the computer.
Yeah.
Download them. And
Yep, you can download them.
So you don't have to go into the library.
Right. The only reason you would need to go into the library is if you need a library card, because our library here does not do the digital cards.
But you want to do it on whatever device you're taking with you.
Yes, on your
You want to
phone
download it
or your
on
or your
phone or
tablet.
your tablet that you're taking on.
Does the Forest Library have,
Forest has Libby. Hoopla,
I would just do Libby if I did.
I don't remember if they have Hoopla.
Marion, Ohio doesn't have Hoopla.
She was asking about Forest.
Forest.
I'm asking about Marion.
Marion, I actually don't know.
Because I just tried to put them in and it didn't recognize it. I'm going, what?
Oh, that might be something worth. Marion's kind of on a different system than we are here in Wyandotte County, so I'm not sure. I know that the upper library has Hoopla, so if you need it, if you want it, and you don't have an upper card, just stop in there and they can get you one. With Libby, you also have access offline with Libby and Hoopla. You have access offline once you download your book or your movie. You can still access it. So when you're on the plane, in airplane mode, you can still access your stuff.
What if you don't have your library card number?
You will need your library card number to sign up for it.
Is there a way to access that?
Through, you probably have to call the library and they can give it to you. You'll also need your PIN. I know the PIN at the library here is the last four of your phone number usually, but it depends on the library. And both apps are free. Everything on them is free. So these are good for travelers because again, you have offline access. There's no luggage weight, you know, carrying books around or extra DVD players or something. The content is free and the items on the apps automatically return. So if you are worried about, you know, late fees or anything like that, you don't have to. It automatically returns it after your borrow period.
Yeah, just have my foot on it, resting.
And you can use it anywhere in the world. Anywhere you have online access. So on here, I put how you sign up. That's also on the little half sheets that Teresa was handing out. It's how you can sign up. It will also be on this PowerPoint. It's hard to read on here. So I will just click through this. You'll be able to see this if you want to see it later on the video. So some frequently asked questions about these. How long are the borrow periods? With Libby, you can actually choose between 7 and 21 days. So it's up to you kind of how long you want to borrow it. If you think you're going to read it quickly and only want to, I do everything 21 days just in case, but I never take that long to read anything. So with Hoopla, it's different. It depends on what you're borrowing. For movies and TV shows, it's 72 hours. With music, you have it for 7 days, and then your ebooks and your audiobooks you have for 21 days automatically. But like I said earlier, at the end of that period, it automatically gets returned, so you don't have to worry about going in there, tapping the buttons. You can return them early if you want to.
Are there late fees if you don't return them on the apps?
No, because they automatically return. They just
Whether you're done or not.
whether
it's
you're
gonna
done or
take it
not,
away.
yep,
Got it.
it's going to take it away. So if you're not done, you'll have to go back in and download it again.
Sometimes you can renew.
That's true. There are some things that you can renew through Libby. Hoopla does not renew. Libby does. If you have
If
something,
there's a waiting list, they won't.
you'll have to go back on the wait list.
Right.
Yeah, that's what I was going to say. If there's nobody else waiting in line for you, you can automatically renew it. How many items can you borrow? We already talked about that. Hoopla, you get 4 items. Libby, you can have 20 per card. And another common question people ask is why is borrowing on Hoopla so limited? And it's because we have a 1 copy, what do they call it? Or they have a daily budget for that. Hold on, I put it on. I didn't put it on there. I can't remember what they called it. The model that they used to pay for it. It's they pay for every download. The library pays for every download. So, which is why it's automatic because they can pay for each one individually. The Libby app, they don't. They have a model where it's 1 copy, 1 user. They only pay for 1 license per item, and then you can only borrow that 1 license. Hoopla is it's a very expensive. The other question I put on here is, can I return items early? Yes, you can, if you like. Are there any other questions or anything? That's all I have for you about it. You've got some flyers there. There is each one of those has a little QR code you can scan with your phone or your tablet to easily download it. Or you can go to your Play Store or Apple Store and download it that way as well.
And let them know about what Crystal does.
Oh yes, Amy mentioned. So Teresa was talking earlier about. Were you talking about Tech Connect? Who was talking about Tech Connect? Anyway,
What
somebody
was
was
the question, please?
You were talking about technology.
somebody was talking earlier about tech help
Oh, yeah.
available at the library. The upper library on Tuesdays at 11, I think 11 to 1. Crystal, one of our employees, has Tech Connect at the library where you can come in with your tablet or your phone or your laptop, any tech questions you have, you can bring them in and she can help you answer them. So if you need help with the apps, you can bring them in and we can help you out, okay? If you need help downloading anything or have any questions, just bring it into the library.
Carrie
Tuesdays at
has
11.
it.
Carrie also has it. Do you know when they do theirs?
It's Tuesday night, maybe 6 to 8.
Tuesday, 6 to 8.
Or
Your
5
call.
to 7, and then Thursday afternoons.
Okay, Thursday afternoons 2 to 4, so they do theirs 2 days.
He's great. But he's a little higher level, so sometimes,
Yeah.
he's following.
Yeah, tech people tend to be that way.
But he's wonderful. I even had him come to my house to help me with my computer.
Oh, that's excellent.
So, he's really Ted Wright.
Okay, so Ted at Carrie will help you out, or Crystal at the upper library will help you out. So, any other questions or anything about Libby or Hoopla I can answer? Okay.
Thank you very much. I figured she could do it a lot easier than I could, so, because I do use my Kindle a lot, but I have read my Kindle on the Kindle app instead of the actual Kindle. So, Amy says she has to have she likes having the physical book, but I'll tell you what, it's just really nice and lighter to just be able to do it on your Kindle or on, I'm not taking my Kindle to Ireland. I'm going to have the app on my iPad, and then of course I have it on my phone, so I do use my Kindle a lot. And I listed also, like, if you're a subscriber to like Netflix, Amazon Prime, Disney, and Hulu, you could, and we were talking about movies on YouTube this morning, so you can also download movies and shows off of that. I have YouTube TV, and they actually have a lot of the old shows, so they're expensive though, I think. But you can download shows that way to have on your app for the plane.
And if anybody has cable, like through Spectrum or something like that, make sure you're not getting free apps through your cable package. You don't want to pay for HBO a second time if it's included in your package. So go over your cable bill first and see if you've got anything included.
Yeah.
Also, some cell phone companies, like my cell phone company, includes Netflix and I think Disney Plus or something like that. So make sure you're not doubling anything up.
That might be another question you want to ask when you call Verizon or your phone provider is. Say, do I get any movies? Do I get any extras with this that I'm not aware of? Because sometimes we tend to overlook that stuff because we think they're trying to sell us something, and so. The next important thing is, make sure you have all your travel documents with you before you go to load up on the bus to go on your trip. Don't please do not forget your passport. When I went to Italy, true story, the girl that came the farthest, she came from Columbus. She got all the way to Detroit and was waiting in line and realized that she forgot her passport. And her husband had to grab her passport and book it to Detroit to get her passport before she flew out. She got it just in the nick of time. I mean, they were the last ones on the plane. So please make sure before you leave that you have your passport, your ID, you have, if you don't have your boarding pass, those are things that we may be able to easily work with, but it makes the trip so much easier if you have it all on you. I tend to travel. Last week I had my leather wallet. I forgot to bring it today. I have a leather passport wallet that's not quite as big as this, but even something like this, put your paperwork in it and put it on your carry-on bag, your personal bag, so that you can just pull it out and everything's right there for when you go through security. So, I also have this passport. I put my passport in this to keep it protected, or something similar. But don't forget that stuff. And again, take pictures of everything. But if you're in the United States flying out, you may not get out without that passport. You're gonna have an easier time getting in without than you are getting out without it. So, you know, make sure you have all your itinerary information, all your travel insurance information. Those that bought stuff, that travel insurance through Colette, it should be in there. Your emergency contacts, credit cards, and some cash. I always recommend you take 2 credit cards with you and keep them separate, but keep them on you or keep them in a safe if the hotel has a safe. But I always take 2 credit cards just in case something happens to the one. If you lose one or one gets compromised or something, you got a second one. And again, the RFID, they got RFID cards that you can put with your credit card that keeps them safe. They have pouches that you can put them in that are RFID protected. Or I talked about the Bagalini purses, and there's also men's wallets that are protected. You know, because they can scan. I don't know how it works, but they can scan and get that information off your credit card, and your credit card's compromised.
It's the same technology that you can scan your card at like the gas station. Somebody can just, you know, if they have bad intentions, they can put that same technology in a device that they're carrying and just kind of walk past you and take your credit card information. You'll never know it happened.
They can take your phone too,
Oh, certainly.
so your phone should be
Certainly.
protected too.
I want to kind of go back to, before I forget, there was a couple of things I forgot to mention last week on the packing that might be important, might be really helpful. I would suggest couples that are going, that you pack, if you're each checking one piece of luggage, that you pack half and half in each one. His and hers half in one, and his and hers half in the other. In case one of your luggage gets lost, and chances of both pieces getting lost are slim unless the whole group gets all their luggage lost. So I suggest that you do that as a precaution. And then I highly suggest a phone lanyard. There's some I like more than others. A phone lanyard. So a phone lanyard, I don't have one right now, but the one I had broke and I haven't replaced it yet. But there's a piece, the one I like, it has a piece. It's a heavy, sturdy piece, like almost like canvas or something, and it goes between your phone cover and your phone, and then a chain or a strap comes out, and you can the one kind that I have has a wrist, and the other one is for around your neck. I just suggest that so that they can't. It's harder for them to swipe your phone if they're after your phone. First reason, Jane came up with that one today. I said I hadn't even thought about that. Yeah,
There we
Jane has
go. So this
one.
is a very
That's a
basic
different one.
version of which this isn't pretty, but you can get ones that are
Yeah, you can get something really
beautiful
pretty.
that like look like the strap from a purse or something. But you know, if I'm holding my phone like this, and like Teresa's example is if I drop it off the cliff when we're sightseeing, you know, at least it's not in the water.
I just keep having this vision of being at the cliff some more, and all of a sudden I'm taking a picture, and whoops, there goes my phone and everything in it, you know. So Amy was on a trip with she was a chaperone with
8th graders.
8th graders, and one of the girls that she was chaperoning lost their phone in the
Potomac River.
Potomac River.
That was a fun conversation to her mother.
I was just gonna say, the parents weren't very happy.
So, and then, you know, take some cash, and Colette will probably have more information on conversion. Now, converting money when you're in Europe. Now, I think it was Dorothy, was it you that was telling me about the credit card that you can convert money for free? Or am I thinking of somebody else? Somebody else on the trip had told me about that they have a credit card through Chase, it's Chase Signature, and it pays, you don't have to pay the conversion to get your money converted over there to withdraw money to, for Ireland, so
AAA one.
triple A. So
Yes, converting some money here before you go.
I don't know, because everything I said, if you read, it sounds like you have to pay more here. So I would check into it if you want to check into it, or we can find out through Colette what they suggest.
They'll probably bring that up at the meeting.
They're gonna probably bring it up to me, which is gonna be, you're gonna have time to take care of that.
The bank can get you AAA.
From everything I read, it said wait until you get there. There's always places right there that you can do it, and it's cheaper to do it there. But that's what I'm reading, but I don't know for sure. I just envisioned 43 people lined up. But everybody got off the plane lined up to get the money converted, but I'll let them be able to answer that question better. It's always good to know what they need over there. You're not going to need a visa most trips, and you're not going to need your vaccination records, but we're not that far away from COVID that we don't all remember that we had to have our vaccination records prior to traveling. I think most countries have done away with that, but it's still good to check and see what they do need. TSA pre-check. I really liked it. Me and Amy got it for our New Orleans trip. It worked out great for what we wanted it for. One of us, I went through the pre-check early, got ahead of everybody. Amy came through at the end, past all of our people, and I was on one side, she was on the other side, helping direct everybody and get them where they needed to go. And I got through really quick. Now, some people have had problems with it. I have not. It's worked great. And so I listed how to do it, what to do, and then you decide if it's worth it for you. It kind of spells out if you travel, if you fly more than once a year, if you just like removing your shoes and unpacking, if you want less hassle security, then it may be for you. When we signed up for it, but it changes all the time. She just said TSA's not making you remove your shoes. That could change tomorrow. Every time I go through TSA, it changes. I can be on the same trip and have 2 different rules on each end at 2 different airports. So I just try to follow what I think and
If you're 75 or older, you don't have to either.
they say that, but that could change tomorrow. That's what I'm saying.
You don't argue with the TSA.
Yeah, you don't argue with the TSA agent. If you're 78, you get up there and they say, take off your shoes.
Take them off.
Yeah. But with the TSA pre-check, you're supposed to be able to avoid all that. You don't have to take out your
How
liquids.
do you do that? How do you do the
We can-
pre-check?
So you go online, I have it on there how to do it, but you go online, you fill out a form, and then you just have to go to, it tells you what locations you have to go. You have to take your passport and your state ID, and they fingerprint you, and then you get an email with your TSA number and your pre-check number. And then what you do is when you put in for your flight, you put that TSA pre-check number, and then that authorizes you to go through the pre-check.
Doesn't it cost, is that the one that costs like $89?
Yeah, it's $89, and then
But
they have
it's good
another
for-
one, you gotta watch because then they got these other companies trying to get more money out of you, but.
Yeah, but that is good for 5 years still.
Yeah, it's good for 5 years. So, I thought it was really worth it, but then again, it depends on who you're traveling with, because, my next trip, I know that my friend does not have the pre-check, so I'm gonna feel bad leaving her to go through the pre-check when she's gotta wait in the long line. So, it depends on what you're using it for and who you're traveling with.
What page are you on?
I'm just going on 17, I just left 16.
Thank you.
They also have global entry, which is more for the international traveler. So I'm not familiar with that as much, but it's like the pre-check. The ETA, a lot of you, we had you do the ETA because we got a notice from Colette that everybody had to have that ETA. And at that time, I thought we were flying into London, so we didn't question it. about a month ago, I got to look. We started getting reports back on our airlines, and I'm like, it's not going into London. But let me also mention, I thought that Ireland was part of Great Britain, United Kingdom, and it is not. Northern Ireland is, but Ireland is not. So I wasn't questioning it until it became mentioned to me that that wasn't part of the United Kingdom. So then I called Colette and asked them about it, and they said they misunderstood when that first came out, and they thought that we all needed it for this trip as well. But they have since said they are not. They said it was relatively new. There was a lot of confusion when it first came out. So some of you, I am so sorry, you had to come in and pay $21 and get that ETA, and some of you, we caught it before you had it done.
So we do not need the UK ETA.
You do not need the ETA.
Okay.
Medications, I talked about last week. Make sure you bring some kind of documentation from your pharmacist, like your labels or something. If they're not in their bottles, if they're not in their original packaging, it's a good idea to have a copy of the printout with your pill organizer, just in case they check it. I've never had a problem with my medication for all the years I've traveled. So, nor have I traveled with a lot of different people on flights, and nobody has ever had an issue. So, but I always say it's better to have it and not need it. Medical insurance card. Make sure you take your medical insurance card, and it's also really important that you find out if your medical insurance is going to cover you wherever you're going. Because just because you have a good medical insurance does not mean it's going to cover you in Ireland or Great Britain. I've actually personally ran into this, not for myself, but a gentleman we were traveling with got sick in Puerto Vallarta, Mexico. We had to get him life flighted out. We had to come up with the money first to get him out of there. And at the time it was $15,000, and none of us had a credit card with $15,000 limit on. So we were scrambling. We did get him home, and because of his circumstances, everything ended up being covered, but it was not through a medical insurance. So it was because he had a disability from working at a beryllium plant. And he had a settlement with the beryllium plant, and they ended up paying for it. So do check your insurance, and I listed all the different ways it could possibly, your medical insurance could be possibly covered. So in ways that you can find it. So that is something, everybody's going to be different. That is not something I can really help you with, but you do need to check and see if you have some kind of coverage while you're over there and what your coverage is. Because just through the years in our offices, we have heard of people, known people that have been in Europe or Germany or other countries and had medical emergencies and have had horror stories about getting someone home. So protect yourself and your loved ones as much as possible with that. Like we were talking about Google Drive for your digital backups, and Dropbox is another one. Google Drive is something I'm familiar with, and that's what I'll be using, but you use what you're comfortable with. I already talked about the document holders, and it's really important that you don't just hand your passport to anybody at the airport. Make sure you're handing it just to the clerk or just to TSA. If somebody would come up and say, I need to see your passport, then you need to find out and ask them some questions. Who are you and why do you need to see my passport? I kind of went over, I'm not going to go over that again, the do not pack in your checked luggage. I kind of went through that last week, so it's in both last week's flyer and this flyer. I think one of the things I mentioned is I will not be wearing my diamond ring. I will not. Long time ago, I bought a cheap gold band that when my husband was alive and I was traveling, I wore that cheap gold band. Just because, again, I heard stories from other people that got robbed or You know, if you, some of these countries, these people are very poor, they're desperate, and they see you have a $5,000 ring on, and they're gonna be trying to figure out a way to get it. And not everybody, but you know, there's just always crooked people out there. So I just try to not attract attention to that kind of stuff. Virtual private network. That was one of the things I learned about reading this or researching for this. So I actually downloaded one through McAfee, I think. And what it does is it you probably can explain it better, but when you're using an internet and they can steal your login information to, if you're going to check Edward Jones, if you're going to check your account, see where your account's at, and you're putting in all that private message, the internet, they can steal, through the internet, they can steal your password information and your account information. This de-scrambles it, so it like makes it scrambled so they can't read it, and they can't get the information. So, so if you need to do that, when you're on a trip, anywhere, this is even in the United States, if you're using a public network, if you have those VPN, you can turn that on the app, and then it's more safer for you to access your accounts that way without somebody stealing your private information. So if that's something that you need to do, I highly recommend something like that.
Don't do it if you don't have to, but if you do have to, have that level of protection.
Yeah. So I guess the better way to say it, if you read it, it encrypts your data and it hides your IP address. So, and then I explained in here how to get them, how to get a VPN, and what services there are: Norton, McAfee, Express, and Nord. But be careful again, like we were talking earlier. Make sure it's verified, one of those companies. There is a cost for them. It's cheaper if you get it for a year. And then I also.
But it's also cheaper than having your identity stolen.
Yeah.
You're talking about your VPN.
Right,
Yes.
yeah.
Okay. Yes. So yeah, I'm on page 22 now. Here I kind of went over the tipping customs, and I was surprised. The first part I did every different country, just a brief, just kind of for the next 3 or 4 pages, just a brief of each country, what they expect in tipping. Apparently Americans tip a lot more than other countries do. Japan being one that said they don't take tip. They take pride in their service, so they don't expect a tip, and they'll likely give it back to you. But Ireland, I have down what they suggested. That's on page 24, and I think something I read. It sounds like Colette will talk to us a little bit about that too. But like in pubs, it says it's not even customary to. It's not a custom to tip your bartender, but instead to say, add one for yourself so that he can drink. So apparently the bartender's allowed to drink while they're working, but it is Ireland, so. And I listed like the hotels and the tour guides. So probably the most important part is the safety, the last 2 pages, 26 and 27. I talk about safety. I kind of go through steps here, like things to do. Notify your trusted people. When I go away, my neighbors know it. I have immediate family members that know it. I make sure all my doors and windows are locked. I go through the house. I unplug any unnecessary appliances, make sure they're off. My coffee pot, just because freak things happen. And you can put timers on your lights. They even have some that attach to like your Ring app, and you can turn them on from another country. You can do all that kind of stuff. Make sure you have your mail held or somebody picking it up. I have somebody that regularly stops by my house and takes my mail and puts it in a certain spot for me. And it also happens to be my dog sitter. So he's there every day. But let me tell you a story about water. So I used to go to Florida for 3-4 weeks, and one of my friends suggested that I turn my water off at my house, at the main, at the water main, because my dog was going with me. He wasn't going to be there. I can't hardly do that now because usually he stays the majority of the time at my house. Somebody's in and out all the time. So the night before I was to leave on this trip, I had forgot to undo the outdoor faucet. I forgot to take the hose off, and it froze, and it flooded a portion of my basement.
Oh, dear
It's
Lord.
the night before I left, so I have to take care of this mess and get it all cleaned up and have somebody come replace the faucet before I leave. And I get that all taken care of. We leave. I turned off the water and came home. Everything's fine. Turned the water back on, and the next morning I woke up and I'm like, gosh, it's really raining outside. And I couldn't figure out what the problem was. The very next morning, the hose on my toilet in my master bedroom broke and flooded my other side of the basement because it flooded that bathroom and it went down into the basement, flooded that basement. And so I had, thank God that did not happen while I was gone. And I don't know, maybe turning water off and turning it back on might have weakened it. I don't know. But if I had left my water, nobody would have been in that house for that 3-4 weeks. And I would have had a total mess. Although I will tell you this, I had left my hose on by accident, and Upper Sandusky Water Department is great. They will call you and say, your water's been running all night, something's not right. And so they are really good about that. But so I suggest if you don't have you either have somebody checking on your house every day, almost every day, or you turn your water main off just to protect yourself from a flood, because weird things just happen. So I was really glad that
Security systems will also
what they
have a security system. My husband and I were selling our house, and he got a call that there was water in the basement, and nobody was there. So we were both gone, and so I went over and found it, and somebody had been repairing our furnace and had not turned off the water outlet when got done working. And so, because nobody was there,
right.
it flooded the whole place.
Yes, some security systems will. Thing is, I think most people are going to the Ring cameras and things like that. They don't have the indoor security that we used to have. The other thing, so I did list out a lot of different things here. But another idea is, I don't know if they still do it. I have somebody at my house, like I said, regularly when I'm gone. But I used to always notify the police department and ask them to keep an eye. Let's say, hey, I'm going out of town for a week. Can you just keep an eye on my house? And they would literally walk around my house. Maybe not every day, but they would drive past it and stuff. So check and see if maybe your police or sheriff's department does that. If they can kind of, just let them know, hey, I'm going to be out of town. If you see anything, if you can kind of patrol by my house when you're out of time and just see anything weird, let me know. But it's always good to have somebody kind of checking on your house and things like that. So, kind of skimming through here. If you have Ring cameras and stuff like that, make sure everything is charged up before you leave. All your batteries are all charged up. And they're a wealth of information of who's at your house.
And Teresa, I don't know if you touched on this somewhere else, but if you're not going to have somebody at your house, if your house is going to be empty, it might not be a good idea to post on social media in real time that you're in another country. just so if somebody does see that your house isn't a
Yeah.
target because it's sitting there empty.
We try to make it policy like we don't post pictures from our trips until we get back. And I feel a lot more secure than I used to when I was first widowed and I was traveling. And before I had Ring cameras and stuff like that, my girlfriend we could go to Florida and she would post a video and that would make me happy because I'm like, I don't want everybody to know I'm not home. So just, I have become a lot more lax, a lot more comfortable with it. So sometimes I forget, but it is really important that you probably wait till you're at least on your way home before you start posting your pictures. So,
Unless you have somebody else there, if your house isn't sitting empty,
right.
celebrate your trip in real time.
Yeah.
But just
I think it's really important that we remember, watch what you post on Facebook as far as your friends. I had a friend one time that she posted something about she was taking some oxycodone, and I worked at the prosecutor's office at the time, and she's like, wow, this stuff makes me really feel good, or I feel a lot better, or something. And I immediately contacted her and said, take that off of Facebook, because I knew that there was someone in our vicinity that was breaking into people's homes and stealing narcotics if they knew that they were on them. And there was it was a neighbor of hers, and he was known for that. And she did take it off, but I think she thought I was being a little overprotective, but I just don't think that some of that stuff, you gotta watch what you put, because somebody else, that might be their
and even if you have your settings set to private and you think you have everything secure, it's still out there in some capacity. And once it's out there, you just can't get it back.
Well, it's like we did CPR a couple of weeks ago, and the lady that did the CPR said, you think you know your friends.
Oh yeah.
And you don't. You don't always know everything about them. Everybody has skeletons, so just protect yourself. So I hope you guys enjoyed it. That was kind of the end of it. Last week I found out there were some people that didn't come to Pizza and Passports, and they didn't know our next really big trip is Portugal. That is in the fall of 27, September 29th. We have about 10 rooms, I think, booked right now, and
It's a river cruise.
it's a river cruise in Portugal and Spain, and I think, what do we have, 54 rooms, 56 rooms, or something like that.
That was a little. Yeah, it has to be, because I think you can take 108.
Yeah, we can take 108 people max, and we want to fill it with everybody from our council on aging, all of our clients, people from Wyandotte County and your friends. We want to have the whole. So we would love if you didn't get that information. Everything's here to sign up, and what you do is you fill out the paperwork and bring it in to us. We have a big poster in the office with all the rooms. And you can pick out your room, and we exit out, and we send in your information and get you on board with us. So we hope you all will consider going with us again. This one is actually through Mayflower. So the video and stuff was beautiful. We're super excited about Portugal. We got to get through Ireland, and we're super excited. So thank you everybody for coming. Did anybody else have any other questions or comments or something I missed or suggestions? Did you guys enjoy these lunch and learns?
Yes. Just as an ad, you was talking about muck boots for rain.
Yeah, that's not what I'm taking though. I brought those as a demonstration because I didn't have my boots yet. I'm actually taking Bach rain boots.
Well, I just wanted to let you know that Skechers does have a tennis shoes that is water resistant.
Oh, okay. And do you have your little boots that you bought? Ann found these little boots. She bought them off of Walmart.com. And these are a suggestion as well. Teresa, what kinds did you say you were taking? BOC boots. I think BOC.
Oh, okay.
They're leather. I like leather.
Those are so fun.
Yeah. So this is what she got off of Walmart.com to go over her shoes.
My mom used to have
Yep.
those. Yeah.
So,
Bring it back.
and here's the thing, I laughed.
Well.
What did, Amy, what was the percentage of rain? What was the percentage of rain? Was it like 30%?
43% chance of rain every day, like the average, if you average it out.
Yeah.
And they said it's actually the least, April was the least, less likely to rain. Yeah.
Yeah.
rain?
I said at least
Rain month.
we're doing all this preparation by raincoats and all, and it might be our guarantee that we have no rain at all.
Great.
I hope.
Yeah, Rosie O'Donnell took over to Ireland here. We have a lot of guys that we haven't had rain for quite a while.
There's no way I would.
See, I can do white for them. I have white.
So, yeah, so we may not even need this stuff, but it's better to be prepared. And they said that right now it's springtime. It's actually started springtime in Ireland, so.
And hopefully we wouldn't be.
Anything else?
Usually it's 15.
All right. Well, stop by the office and ask us if you have any questions. You know, we're always, unless, we're busy, but we always, find us and we can help you. We will help you with anything that any questions or anything that you have. So.